Knowing that my son was going to die soon, I felt it's my obligation to tell him about my life. And he made me promise that I will write my story down and tell it to my children. In spite of it, I still couldn't do it. It took me many, many years to be able to finally find peace and realize I'm getting too old and my story needs to be told to my children as well as to my grandchildren. I was born on June 10, 1927 in Poland, Toronto. I had a very, very large family and a very, very happy one. My childhood was for me one of the happiest times in my life. Those were beautiful, beautiful memories on and on. Especially my mother was the disciplinarian, my father was the good guy. Usually we were very, very religious and we loved to go to the movies. And so on Friday night, Dad would leave us some money and show us that's for tomorrow to go to the movies. We were invaded by the Germans on September the 3rd, 1939. And all our life took a horrible turn around. In 1942, August the 6th, I completely lost my family. And even at the age of now that I'm 86 years old, I feel the loss and wished I could still feel at least one time the arms of my mom. In the very, very short time of being occupied by the Germans, the life for the Jewish people became almost unbearable. Immediately they came out with the grief. The first was no Jewish child could get a public education. All schooling was prohibited. Next they came out, you had to wear an armband with the Jewish star. They came out with a curfew that from 9 in the evening till 5 in the morning you should not be found in the street. So we got a letter from City Hall to leave our home in 1 hour. Oh my God, can you imagine a home that you lived all your life and you had to leave it in 1 hour? What would you grab? What would you take first? When we finally got into the ghetto, we didn't even have a room allotted. They gave us an empty basement. You can't imagine, no water, no toilet, no heat. When Dad got back, his whole shirt was full of blood. His chin was all torn up in blood. We asked Dad, what happened to you? He said he went over to a German asking for some rags. He needed to do some cleaning. And the German grabbed his little beard. He had a small beard. He grabbed that beard and kept dragging him down and pulling out some meat from his chin. And this is where that blood was coming from. My grandmother was holding my hand. All of a sudden she loosened my hand and started running. She had turned around to the right, and so the Germans were pulling our children from mother's arms, and the mothers didn't want to give up their children. And so the Germans would kill the mother and grab those children and throw it on the stones. And my grandmother, when she saw that, she wanted to pick those children up. And I ran after her saying, Grandma, don't you realize what's going on? Please come back. She said, I want to pick up those children. I said, yes, Grandma, come. And I pulled them back into line. When the German noticed the commotion, they come running after us. What's going on here? I tried to grab his sleeve and tell him, sir, nothing is going on here, nothing is going on here. But he turned his rifle around He hit me with his butt really hard, the middle of my head. I still have a bald spot here, never grew back. And the next thing I heard was a shot. And he had shot my grandmother. It took me many, many years to be able to block out that vision from my eyes and my mind, thinking how many people have stepped on the body of my grandmother. It was suffocated because we were so tight. You couldn't turn right or left because of the tightness in the wagons. And so when we arrived finally at Auschwitz, almost a fourth of the people that went in were dead. At the time, I was shocked when we came out and we were bereft of our names and had to remember a name by the A15 or 49. If God forbid, would I have forgotten that name, or any one of us who did forget, we would get such a beatings from the couple that you can't imagine that we could even survive those beatings, but we did for some reason. I put some rags and some paper around my feet, and in no time my feet got so ulcerated that every few days we had a doctor by the name of Mengele who came through our lines and picking out people to the right and to the left. The people to the left were sent to the crematoriums. The people to the right could still live. While being without shoes and being continuously sick, I decided to go to the crematorium. So when he got to me, and with his stick, he pushed me to the right, and I decided to raise my hand, begging him, could I please go to the left? And he didn't look at my feet or my legs, he looked at my face, and with his stick, he grabbed me like just by the wrist and pushed me over to the right. He said, you're still young, you still can live. I guess God had something in mind for me. And on a slushy night, I finally was reunited with my sister. It's almost for me too impossible to describe the beauty of that night. We cried, we kissed, we hugged. We promised each other we're never gonna be separated again. And my whole attitude, instead of dying, I wanted to live. And I changed completely, hoping and taking care of my sister, remembering the words of my parents, telling us no matter what will happen, if we all survive, we will meet back at home. Immediately came into the camp different organizations, doctors and nurses, and taking care of us, and little by little sorting out the people who need immediate help were sent to hospitals. The people who were able not to still stay in the barracks, and all of them were offered help where to go, and financially as well, and offering jobs if you were able to do and help out. And it was tremendous, tremendous help from the English people. I didn't know what would be, where could I ever find someone, hoping and almost dreaming maybe my parents and my other siblings survived. Unfortunately, I lost all of my family outside. Then I found my sister in Auschwitz, and then after we were liberated, my brother, who came to Bergen-Belsen. What a wonderful, wonderful reunion that was. I went down the first thing, believe it or not, and kissed the earth to be in a free country for one thing. So it was a very hard time, but like I said, I never gave up. After a few weeks working, I learned how to sew, and I went to sew on pockets on the shirts, and I was making already $67 a week, and that helped a great deal. I have a wonderful legacy. He left me his grandson, his child, which I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm a very, very proud grandmother. The main advice to my kids would be not to be bystanders and not to give up, to feel strong. There's always help. If you can't go to our parents, which we can get the biggest help, we can go to our teachers, we can go to our pastors, to fathers in the churches, and there's also psychiatrists and sociologists that can help you, and don't ever give up. Be strong. You can make it if you have faith in yourself. And this is the only thing I can say. And don't ever be a bystander, and try to help whenever you can. This is my how would I say, my advice to you children.